Hi, and welcome to the Lifestyle Show with me, Pam Joseph. And keeping with government advice through this pandemic, we are doing the show virtually. So you're all very welcome into my humble abode. Once again, I keep saying it every week. I have to say it to everybody. Shout out there to everybody. Thank you ever so much for keep saying this. Keep it up. Good thing. Learning a lot. And they're loving it. So thank you ever so much for that. Now, for the next few hours or so, I request that you please stay tuned, and you're going to be entertained and informed by my guests and I. You're all very welcome to interact with us on the show with any comments you'd like to make, even more so on today's program, because later on we're going to be focusing on the George Floyd tragedy. We have a panel of guests who will be discussing the issue in depth, and you at home can get involved with questions and comments. So there are various ways to get in touch. Message us via medianet.com, email us at lifestyleonben, all one word, lifestyleonben@hotmail.co.uk. That's lifestyleonben@hotmail.co.uk. Our Facebook page, Lifestyle on Ben, or tweet us at Lifestyle TV Show. Okay, it's a very packed show today. So at this point, I'm actually going to say I've got to bring in the Dark Persuader, aka Anthony Jordan, lifestyle entertainment correspondent.
Hello. How are you?
How are you?
I'm good. I'm actually, the Dark Persuader, whatever. I am triggered this week. I am triggered more than ever before, because I think my breakdown of it is you have the ignorant and the unaware. So I have been on the challenge of both. Some who are unaware of what we've been going through for centuries, and those who refuse to acknowledge it and have claims. And I have been on a onward battle through every form of social media going. Some of it has been helpful and positive. Some people are like, where do you have the energy? I'm like, it needs to be done. We call it the George Floyd's tragedy. It's so much bigger. It's a situation that I don't want it to be just this moment. This is a time now. Change.org will say this is your biggest signatures that we've received and everything. That's all well and good. I'm not here for the boosted egos of I signed this campaign. It's the time for change is now. Everyone watching and listen, I beg and I urge you, acknowledge. Let's keep this and move forward.
I hear that. And hopefully we're going to be getting a lot of that coming from our movers and shakers.
Yes, for sure.
So that's all good, and that's going to be later on. And that's why I wanted to build up on this, so that people can get their messages and comments through as well, so that we could have that, just as you just voiced your opinion on it. We want to hear the people voicing their opinion, setting up questions as well. So that's all good. And I'd like to say, because I like to sit on the fence, and you know me already. I sit on the fence, and I like other people to be putting it out there and doing it like that. So that's all good. I know that we're going to be hooking up just before that as well. There's a great and fantastic, one of our main people that we love on the lifestyle, our gospel guru. She's involved in a new a musical.
Yes. So I do have, I'm calling this like the UK Reggae Collective. Not everybody, because the collective is huge and wide, but there was a few of them that have come together, and it's a special track that I will be featuring to close out the show. It's a very nice one. And very fitting for the moment.
Lovely. So I'll see you a bit later.
Yes, indeed. Enjoy. Keep up the good work, and tune in, everyone. We want to hear from all of you. Sorry, it's not my normal intro, but I'm really passionate about this week. So enjoy.
Thanks. Speak later.
Bye.
Okay, and now England recently reopened schools on the 1st of June. Reception, year 1 and 6 were the first groups of pupils invited. But many parents seem to have opted out, stating that they thought it was too early, and that they also had the backing of 9 unions representing school leaders, teachers and support staff, calling for the government to not only give schools more time, but also more clarity in their guidance. However, other parents and educationalists have had a very different view about it. So joining me, Lifestyle, we have from Essex, Mum Jenny Jones and Dr. Michele McDowell, an educational psychologist, child psychologist. So hello, ladies, and welcome to the Lifestyle Show.
Hello.
Hello there.
Good afternoon.
Hi there. I think we've got Jenny to come on. Jennifer Jones to come on. Maybe she'll join us a bit later, but thank you ever so much, Michele, for coming on. And as I your title there, educational child psychologist. Before, hopefully she will be able to join us, but let's talk about this, because we've been hearing so many things, Michele, about, is it good? Is it too early? Are my kids going to be safe? Oh, what about the teachers and the teachers themselves? Oh, what about me? What about my family? And there are basic reasons, Michele, that's been pointed out. So some of the experts say children in those groups, reception year 1 and year 6, learn vital social skills and start to build their foundations of reading. So it's therefore important that they do get back into the classroom as quickly as possible. Would you agree with that?
I can definitely see it from two perspectives, and also from two perspectives personally, because I'm a parent as well as a psychologist. So I understand the drive to encourage parents to bring their children back to school, because there is no doubt that socially, developmentally, it's the main focus really, particularly in the younger years, for young people to develop their interaction skills, their ability to modulate their emotions, so socially, psychologically, developmentally, it's a really important time, particularly reception, year 1, key stage 1. Essentially, social development carries on throughout school. So any age group, really, it's really important for an aspect of resilience. So that is the ability to work with or to approach adverse situations in a positive way. So, for example, school provides a sense of belonging. It provides a sense of connection and community. Those things can't come from, or just come from home. So we can see that there are really important reasons why there is a drive to send children back to school. However, parents fundamentally have a role of protecting their young people, their children, and nurturing them, and providing a safe space for them and safeguarding their development. So there isn't any doubt in my mind that every parent that's making the decision and choosing that actually they want their child to stay at home is doing that because they're concerned, and really because it's a great unknown at the moment.
It is indeed. The experts also say in the case of year 6 pupils, they had an abrupt end to their primary school careers, and it would be beneficial for them emotionally to return to school just before they head off to the big school. We remember that. Remember going to that big school, we're going to be a big children. Yep. And I mean, that was a transformation. I mean, I couldn't sleep the night. I remember that. I got when I saw that and I read that, I said, I remembered back and I said, do you know something? They've got something there. The ease of going in from your little primary school, you've been there for 5 years with, your young people, you grew up with them. Then you're going to head to the big school, and some of the kids in your classroom, they're not coming with you. You could almost be the only one that in that classroom. No one else has come through from that primary school. So it is a huge undertaking, isn't it?
Absolutely. Look, Pam, the grief and the loss of being abruptly taken from school cannot be denied, for all of year 6, or all of school really. But year 6 is so significant because that transition process begins from the summer term. Yeah. They're thinking about, or even in year 5 now, where they're going away with their group, and they go away on camp, or they go away, they have a time away with a group, and build those connections that will carry on throughout lifetime. I mean, I don't know about you, but I have friends that I've had from primary school to still today. So it's really significant and very important. But we do now need to think as organisations and leaderships within school and the wider government and local authorities of how to design that. So even if schools choose that actually this last 6 weeks of school, they're not going to have year 6 in the way that would have supported a positive ending and a transition to secondary school. What are the creative ways that we can still do things to support the transition and change for year 6 pupils?
I hear that. Just, we had a recent survey, ITN, Independent Television News, had a survey suggesting that 59% of parents were not keen and comfortable about sending their children to school. And due to the fact that many of them said, there are hundreds of people still dying out there from the coronavirus each day, and many are still contracting the illness. So if it's out there and it's prevalent. But I want to go a bit more on that, Michele, because I'm thinking now in the BAME community, African and African Caribbean parents are more so maybe thinking, oh, I've heard this report, I've seen this survey. We seem to be, you know, in our community, rather be prone to be catching it 5 times % in some degrees of our male counterparts catching this disease. So could that be part of the sway? They didn't diagnose it, and they didn't dissect it to say which, you know, sort of nationalities of these parents. But I'm just wondering, could that be a factor with many of our own people, the parents of African and African Caribbean children? Could that be a swaying point?
Absolutely. I mean, I think we need to consider culturally you know, there are lots of different aspects of COVID-19 that have impacted on us immensely. And that is, you know, the socio-economic grouping. A huge proportion of key workers are, you know, our nurses, are the carers, our frontline staff, really. And so for this period of time, they've had to make the decision weekly or daily whether their child attends school. So we mustn't forget that there has been a proportion of a percentage of schools where young people from BAME backgrounds have been attending school throughout. But absolutely, I am sure that that will be a perspective for my own self. That's something that I'm constantly considering, because we know the numbers and the figures, and they seem to be quite alarming, really. Yeah. So it is concerning for parents, and that will be an additional concern. Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah, I think so too. So again, now just on our last point of it, the teachers, you know, in their defense, they are saying, well, what about us? We do not have, we cannot wear actually, you know, personal protective equipment, i.e. masks and gloves, because that would somehow perhaps frighten maybe even the younger children. And it's not a good thing to do. But yet at the same time, then they're not being protected. And many of them are saying that, you know, we are going to be literally taking the place of the frontline workers in the hospitals. They're going to become frontline workers in the schools. So what would you say about that, Michele?
I mean, I do think from a psychological perspective that there's lots of anxiety around, complete anxiety around what do we do with our young people? Do we send them back to school? Do we not? You know, and it's been traumatic this last time, this last experience of this last 2 or 3 months. So all of these emotions and feelings of anxiety and stress are going around, and worry. That, in addition to having to make this decision about whether your child goes back to school or not, for teachers, that's an added addition, because they're also, quite a lot of them are parents as well. So it's really challenging. And I do think it is a chance, an opportunity for us really to think about doing things differently. In Europe, they've really tried to think about bringing much more of the education online and supporting young people with being able, and families with being able to engage online. And that's something that I think we could consider more effectively and be a bit more proactive about.
Thank you, Michele. Thank you, Michele. We've just been joined by Jenny Jones, Essex. Jenny, nice to see you. It's we were sort of rounding it up, if you will, but we just want to get your opinion as a mother now. You're sitting there and you have decided that you will be sending your child back to school. Let's just get a recap. What year is your child, Jenny?
He's in foundation.
Foundation. So we're talking about reception leading on to year 1. Okay.
That's right.
How important was it for you to make that decision to send him back in?
It's a very important decision. Obviously, you know, the health of my child and everything is 100% concern of mine. But yeah, it was a real decision we made, but for his benefit mostly, because we feel he needs to be, you know, have that environment. He's only just started last year, September. So kind of at least getting a bit more of that environment, as well as the homeschooling, I think would be great for him, instead of having such a long break and then going back, you know, later on in the year. So I thought, as it's only a couple of days a week, that's what kind of helped with the decision as well. So, but it was really hard. We really thought about it for a few days before we signed anything. We really thought of it, you know, together. My husband and I discussed it. And then we decided it was the best course we thought for him.
Jenny, very quickly, that you mentioned about only a few days a week. So what made up your mind about that was that it was staggered. It was a staggered tier system where it was just a few hours, perhaps a week. Did that help to make your decision?
I think that did kind of help to kind of feel at least he's getting a little bit of something. But yeah, kind of, yeah, small periods of time, you know, hours a day and stuff like that was something for me. And yeah, not the every day as well. So as it's just 2 days a week, I just thought that's perfect. You know, he's not too much in that environment for too long a period of time, but at the same, you know, so I just felt more comfortable with the idea of just the 2 days.
Michelle, just come in there quickly. That's an important factor, isn't it? Not the full length of the school week, part of it.
Absolutely. And even for transitioning back to school, it's important that there's kind of a slow process rather than the immediate abrupt going back in. So yeah, a gradual approach, a graduated approach is important.
So we've run out of time. Jenny, thank you for coming back in at this last minute, but at least you were able to say that. Good luck with your son.
Thank you.
Good luck for you for that decision. Dr.
very much.
Michele and McDowell, before you leave, just one thing I need to ask you. I need to get some social media details, but the me finishing, give us a brief on that, because I love that word, me finishing.
Yeah, it's a self-made word. It's about defining yourself by yourself rather than being defined by outside society, community, etc. So it's really very much about building yourself up from inside. So I'm supporting parents, young people, adults, coaching them through a range of different strategies of how to support themselves with defining themselves, as I like to call it. So defining yourself from the inside out rather than from the outside in.
Brilliant, brilliant. I love that. So website address?
Yep, it's mefinishing.org. So it's definition, but an M instead of the D, mefinishing.org.
Excellent. Lovely. Thank you ever so much, Dr. Michele McDowell and Jenny Jones. Good luck. And I hope he has a great day at school, even if it's only 2 days.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Take care.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.